Welcome to this week's Dirt Shed Show with me, Mark Ashton. Look, we've got Rich Payne. Rich, how are you?
I'm good, mate. How the devil are you?
I am really good. And I'm very excited this week because you're a great example of one of the things we're going to be talking about, or the two ways of becoming the thing we're talking about, a great mountain biker, Rich. A great mountain biker. Of course, which you are one, but we're going to discover how you did it and another way you can do it. It's maybe a bit more risky. Of course, we will have all the normal stuff on the show, so you can look forward to a fantastic, mainly hardtail based bike vault today, Rich. Hardtail based. Yeah, I got a bit carried away with the hardtails. We've got some great hacks and bodges using those zip ties and the caption contest. We've got lots going on, but let's get into it. Rich.
Let's do it.
There's lots of ways to get good at riding bikes, right?
Yep.
But what I'm thinking about today is the two very sort of like opposing poles of getting there. Riding like someone like yourself, who I would say has gone about it in the super pro vein, the way that we would expect a professional athlete to go about becoming great on a bike. I mean, tell us how hard you have to work to be at the level of riding you've been in your career, and even now, because you're very, very fastidious in your training and your preparation.
Excellent word score. Yeah, I put the time in. I did it that way. I put a lot of training time in, a lot of bike time in, a lot of racing in, really crunching the numbers, using things like heart rate and power meters and all sorts during my career to try and eke out the best I could, looking at lots of data analysis and all this kind of stuff to really bring on my riding as much as I could for races and all that kind of gubbins to really, focus me, if you like. I'm quite number focused when it comes to riding, racing and getting better.
So analytical. And you would definitely be someone who took every single part of your riding seriously. So the fitness, but I think this is where really great cross country and really great enduro riders come from. They've got that fitness, but they've also played with the borders of really getting good on the bike and finding their bike skill limits. Because you obviously can handle all sorts of terrain. You're not just some roadie who can go down a big flat road. Don't want to offend any roadies out there, but you know what I mean.
For sure.
And of course, in your preparation too, like you say, with your nutrition. So there's that route, and that is maybe the obvious route to becoming a professional athlete. Not only a professional mountain biker, but a professional athlete. But then there's this other route, because mountain biking's a little bit different to a lot of sports.
It's true.
You can't just get to the top in some disciplines in mountain biking without taking some risks. So there's this gnarly as route.
Whoa!
Okay, right, that route. That's just a legitimate way of being a mountain biker, where training out the window, nutrition out the window. The more beers, the better. It's all about one thing, Rich: putting your body on the line. Yikes. Literally, sometimes.
Gosh.
We both know riders like this, but I think this is a real real uniqueness to mountain biking, because there are people who've just decided that they believe in their riding so much that they're willing to gamble and push the limits, sometimes unknown limits, because the thing they're looking at's never been done. But they just go that extra mile, and a lot of times they pull it off and it's incredible, and then a lot of times they lose the bet. and then the bill that they're gonna have to pay is one they pay with bones, with flesh, with blood and tears.
Whoa, that's intense. But you are bang on there. You're absolutely right. There is sort of that super pro approach, and then there's that wild man approach, shall we say?
There is the wild man, and do you know what? Without naming the one we're going to get to, Rich, can you think of it? Who comes to mind when we think about that? Gnarly as rider. Who would come to your mind in your time in mountain biking that's made you just think, wow, that's crazy?
Can we go early days and go Josh Bender and that crew?
Yes.
Because those guys, that's a whole nother level of gnarly as F.
Yes. I mean, those Josh boys. Bender, for those people who don't know, back in the day, he just used to throw himself off this, that the bike the bike, not only his body, but the bike just couldn't handle, even though they tried to make the bike handle it, but the geometry was insane and it couldn't work. It couldn't work.
Yeah,
it was too short, too tall, and he was nuts. I mean, I think about rides. What about someone like, just recently we've seen the extremes of what can happen to a ride like this, G Atherton. Now, back in the day, right, we know him now as a multiple world champs, World Cup winning rider. Yeah. He could win downhill races. He probably still could if he caught it on the right day. But you know what? Coming up through the ranks, right, I used to just watch G and think, this kid's nuts.
He's a loose cannon.
You don't see it so much in the Super Pro G, but he is still there, and he was obviously still there very recently with this massive crash, because that line he was riding was literally gnarly AF. It was crazy. So, I mean, there's riders like that. But the one that is basically within the GMBN stable, Rich, we both know this man, Chris Smith.
He's a wild man, is Chris.
He's a wild man. I mean, he's over on EMBN a lot more than he's ever on GMBN, but we do get him now and again. But that kid is...
back in the day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Absolutely crazy. I mean, he's someone who's got a very big skill base. He can ride all sorts of stuff. He did lots of trials early on, like myself, but then he really got into like the big mountain riding, big drops, and that boy sent it over some things that did not, that sometimes worked but sometimes didn't, and he has paid the price in bones. Probably why he's riding around on an e-bike, I guess, because he smashed himself up as much as I have. And I tell you what, that's a lot. That's a lot. So why don't we, he's in our stable, why don't we just head over to Chris Smith and see what he's got to say about being, I'll keep it clean, gnarly as AF.
Go on, let's hear from Chris then.
Cheers, guys. Yeah, so I suppose for me, pushing my limits was more, not so much kind of physical like Richard's was. Mine was more about pushing mental limits, my body's limits, and of course the bike's limits. So I was always about, going big on my freeride bike, sending some big gaps, big jumps, doing tricks on hardtails. I sort of did a bit of a mix of everything. And I wouldn't say I wasn't fit, because I definitely was fit. And it actually comes from a real cool saying I saw from Cam Zink. He did the Census company. They did a sticker that said, "Get lit, not fit," which was kind of relative to what I was doing at the time, I suppose. And instead of getting my heart beating out my chest and going as hard as I could up a hill climb or something like that, the challenge for my day was going out to like the dirt jumps, and I'd have a trick list down of like doing this trick, that trick, that trick, that trick, and getting them all nailed. So for me, that was my kind of to-do list. So I was still getting fit, but in a different way for sure. And I still rode cross country maybe once, twice a week, just to keep that base fitness up. But for me, it was definitely about pushing limits. And I think the attraction to that was, one day you'd hit, say, like a 20-foot gap. Next day you could go 25 foot and you'd be like, wow, that was easy. Next day you find this monstrous like 40-foot gap. You try that and you might case and crash, but then you like think it's on the limits, you come in with a bit more speed, pop it, and you get it. And then you think, right, that's 40 foot ticked off the list. You're looking for that next bigger thing all the time. And that's kind of where I messed up. Like, I went to a big gap out quite close to here, out in Salisbury, and tried jumping that. That was 52 feet peak to peak, and that was back in 2002, so quite a while ago, and I misjudged the speed, and I come up short on it basically. I had to jump over the handlebars, landed flat on my ass basically with my feet out in front of me, so felt like 50 feet up, bam, flipped down the bank twice. It snapped my ankle really bad, compressed 3 vertebrae in my back and split them as well, so I had like a wedge fracture in my back. But that was pretty, that was the limits for me. And I think once I got to that kind of 50-foot area, back then that was pretty huge. So I think it was more about pushing those limits, but all the way along, I think injuries have been quite a big part of when you are on the edge. I mean, like broken wrist, broken elbow, broken back, ruptured kidney, broken both my ankles, multiple concussions. You know, you definitely do pay the price for pushing those limits. And it wasn't always me failing. Sometimes the bikes would fail back in those days. We're talking early 2000s at the end of the day. But I just think it made me a well-rounded rider as well in many aspects of bike handling. I took those skills that I learned from dirt jumping back to racing as I got a little bit older. You know, when I wasn't pushing the limits so much, I went back to racing four-cross, and all those skills that you learnt messing around doing the dirt jumps, you could apply to racing. And I actually managed to become Masters National Champ and won the series a few years back. So it wasn't all about getting lit, not fit. You know, you just transferred those skills in a different way. But yeah, amazing time on bikes. Back to you guys in the studio.
Thank you, Chris Smith. Yep. Genius, and as gnarly as they come, they really are. Right. So there you go, you guys out there. What kind of rider are you, and how are you going to become great on a mountain bike? Which route will you take? Will you dedicate your life to the details of the sport like Rich has, or are you just gonna flipping send it like Chris Smith? Let's see what you do. But let us know what you think about those riders. And that route to riding in the comment sections down below. Now, let's get into the shop this week. We've got a brilliant deal on, Rich. Have you seen this?
I haven't. Do tell me more, Mark. Come on.
Oh, mate, you can get yourself some of our core products. Nice. If you buy 3, you get 1. You buy 3 of them, you get 1 of them free.
You buy 3, you get 1 free. I said buy 3, you get 1 free.
Now that is amazing, right? So that's happening over in the shop. These core items, as you can see, very cool, but they don't stick around very long. Actually, nothing does.
No.
But, so you have to get in there quick. So these deals are almost like, they're there, they're almost reminders. So please jump in the shop and grab one. I tell you what, I love being out on the trails and seeing someone else in a GMBN top. Or even shorts these days, but I love seeing a race top here and there. It's great. Yeah. It's great. Which I've got my orange one on today, my orange fade.
Looking sharp. But anyway, Mark, it's time for some news action. So let's send it on over to Tom and Toff and see what those guys have got to say.
What's up, everybody? I'm going to kick things off this week with the Olympic Games XT. The course in Tokyo looked so cool with a few gnarly rock drops and plenty of tight spots which would make overtaking difficult throughout the race. One of these rock drops caught out one of the event favourites, Mathieu van der Poel, who after soldiering on decided it would be best to withdraw, as did Andre Sink, who also has been going very well recently. Your Olympic medalists are David Valera of Spain in bronze, Matthias Flückiger of Switzerland in silver, and Tom Pidcock of the UK taking gold. Huge congratulations to all of those guys, especially Pidcock, whose Olympic victory looked doubtful when he broke his collarbone in a training crash just 7 weeks ago.
The women's cross-country race in Tokyo has just concluded, and I can't remember before seeing that one country winning all 3 medals in a single discipline. It's pretty amazing. Huge congrats to the Swiss trio. Jolanda Neff comes in gold, Sina Fry in silver, and Linda Indegrand picks up bronze in 3rd spot.
Red Bull Hardline, one of the gnarliest downhill races in the world, actually got even gnarlier this time round, with more gaps, a bit more exposure, and some tricky conditions too. So much so that qualifying actually had to be cancelled due to high winds, which are super dangerous when the riders are in the air for so long on jumps this big. So all 24 riders raced on the Sunday, and the results were very tight considering the short but gnarly course. It was Bernard Kerr taking the win, maintaining his incredible track record at Hardline. He's now won 3 times and never finished off of the podium. Laurie Greenland finished in 2nd place, improving on his personal best of 4th, and it was Cade Edwards in 3rd, his first Hardline podium too, improving on his 2018 personal best of 10th. Some tough news here, as Canadian downhill racer Magnus Manson has been diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma, which is a type of white blood cell cancer. Magnus stated on his Instagram that he's known something's been off with his body for a while, so got himself checked out. Doctors are confident that he'll make a full recovery. Right, some double good news now. First off, the famous Gorge Road dirt jumps in Queenstown, New Zealand that have starred in countless movie segments and dirt jump edits have finally had their status confirmed as saved after rumblings that they would be demolished and the land instead used to store construction equipment surfaced in 2018. According to a local newspaper, a businessman was able to strike a deal with the council to not buy the land, but instead arrange other permanent storage for their construction equipment by buying land elsewhere, so the iconic jumps can remain in place. Also, a little update on Muc-Off's Project Green. In 2019, they set themselves a target of removing 30 tons of plastic from their products by 2023. Well, 18 months ahead of schedule, they've removed 94 tons. So they've upped the ante, setting themselves a new target of 200 tons by 2023, over 6 times the original target. Öhlins have gone big with their new RXF38 fork. Designed around a 29-inch wheel, the RXF38 has, you guessed it, 38mm stanchions, and between 160 and 180mm of travel. It shares plenty of tech with the DH38, such as the 3-chamber air spring system, which helps ramp up on those bigger hits, and plenty of external adjustability for compression tuning. And at 2.3 kilos, it's only fractionally heavier than its more slender sibling, the RXF36, yet considerably stiffer and burlier for the rigours of Enduro. It was the Canadian National Downhill Championships last week, with Finn Isles narrowly beating Mark Wallace to the top spot, securing his 2nd consecutive national title. Casey Brown beat both Miranda Miller and Georgia Assel to the top spot in the women's. There was also a round of the IXS European Cup in the Italian favourite venue of Pila. Saracen rider Veronica Widman took victory in the women's, whilst it was Tehuso Enrique Pene winning the men's race ahead of Matt Walker, who must have hot-footed it over to Italy after winning UK National Downhill Champs last week. Shout out to Ray Morrison, who got 4th in the women's race on her Enduro bike. We'll end on a world record here. 2 Swiss mountain bikers, Sivan Mafer and Ralf van der Berg, have broken the world record for vertical meters of single track descended in one day. Starting at 4 AM, the two rode around Davos Klosters for 16 hours, catching a whole range of cable cars to hit a wide network of trails. No trail twice and no outside help or e-bikes were the only rules. The two managed to rack up 20,845 vertical meters, breaking the previous record by 229 meters. Right, that's all I've got for news this time round. Let's find where Toff is for the sickest thing of the week.
Cheers, Tom. Hey, everybody. Right, so this week's sickest thing has to be Andrea Lecondighi's new welcome to the team part from Reverse Components. So good. So Andrea's actually owned this property for the last few years now, but it's only since joining forces and becoming teammates with Nico Vink that they've decided to demolish the whole thing and just spend the last 8 weeks just rebuilding the most massivest jumps. So we got to see a bit of a glimpse of this in his recent Fox edit, but it's only now that we get to see the whole thing really finished and looking amazing. Also, I'm thinking after that whole Sam Reynolds and Fest series drama when they split because Fest want to bring back the core and rock and roll sort of side of it again. I just think if there's an opening coming up and they're doing all this work, does that mean there's going to be a stop at Andrea's house? Because that would be super sick. Anyway, the riding in this video is super good. I mean, as to be expected from Andrea Lecondighi and Nico Vink split part. I mean, super moto, super rock and roll, huge jumps with some huge tricks. I mean, there's a flip suicide, classic Andrea cork 3 Indian air, even a double flip to finish, massive tricks. Supermans are all huge, and even Nico Vink, he just does a toboggan, but it's the most whipped out table tweak toboggan you've ever seen. It's his whole new, it's his own trick, isn't it? Anyway, so that's my sickest thing this week. As usual, go check the video description because you'll find a link there where you can go watch it. So it's definitely worth checking this one out. Right, time to go back to the shed.
Thanks, Toff. That's awesome. Yep. Also, Tom, great stuff. Right, now we're going to get into hacks and bodges now.
My favourite time.
Yeah, these are, we've had some bangers, haven't we, over the time?
We have.
I tell you what, I really like a bit of zip tie action, and there's a lot of zip tie action in this week's hacks and bodges. First one from Benj on his giant trance. So he's going down the trail, his bike starts rattling. What's happened? His split pin for his disc's gone. Simple idea, just zip tie it in, gets him down the trail, works perfect. That is the perfect use of a zip tie. It's just ingenious, and I bet it worked absolutely
simple
fine.
And effective.
Simple and effective. That's usually the way, isn't it, with a zip tie trick?
Yeah.
It's usually that it's simple and effective.
Nice.
Next one. This is an old trick. Okay,
classic.
but
yeah.
I thought I'd just put it in there. Okay, because I was like, oh yeah, I remember doing this so much.
We've all done it at some point, haven't we?
Yeah, it's brilliant. Okay, so you put a zip tie. This is sent in from from Will, and he's got a trance. He's over in New Zealand. And basically, you get a zip tie, you just put it around the chainstay or the seat stay on your bike, especially works best when you haven't got your tyre on, like Will has done here. And you just put the zip tie on, just snip it as close to the rim as you can, and you've got a perfect wheel jig.
Yeah.
You just spin it
actually
around, you can
genuinely
see
works a
every
treat.
little wobble. Yeah, I mean, you know what, Rich? I'm sure you're the same. I've seen like pro mechanics doing this in the pits.
Yeah, trail side, things like that. This is an absolute, like, a worthwhile one knowing this one. I like this one.
Yeah. Are you in your fastidious mountain bike nature? Are you a bit particular about how straight your wheels are?
No, not how straight they are. Obviously, I do prefer them to run straight and true, but I do like them to be quite like tight, so the spoke tension quite tight, so they're real like snappy and responsive.
Yeah, I like a pretty stiff wheel, and I tell you what, but when it comes to a bit of bob in it or a bit of sideways action, I have in the past been known to ride some rather
Some shonky wheels.
Because I like in trials riding, sometimes you really smash your wheel up. So
I bet.
I've been known to like literally tacho my wheel, front wheel this was, get off the bike, take it out, bang it on the floor, so it just pops straight, put it back in, rode it for months.
Oh no, that makes me a little bit sad inside, that one, Mark.
Oh, I don't mind. I just run it. Right, next up, look at this. How many zip ties can one man use?
Lord above is going on here. Hang on.
It looks crazy for a minute, but just take it all in. It's from Tony in Milton Keynes in the UK.
Yeah.
See what he's doing? He's basically locked his pedal arm against the chainstay using a ton of zip ties.
What?
And now he can just crank down on his bottom bracket bolt to get it undone. Clever, eh?
Yeah.
Ugly, really ugly, but clever.
It's not the prettiest. Okay, yeah, all right, fair enough.
Would you trust it? Because them bottom bracket bolts can be really, really tight.
Yeah,
So
no,
I don't
you're
know
right.
if I trust it.
Well, see what I've done like when you just put the Allen key facing one way and then the crank the opposite way and then just stamp it down like that. But then half the time your foot does slip and you absolutely chain ring yourself up the calf or something like that.
Yeah, it can be dodgy. So if you're feeling a bit nervous about it, this way can work. Well, Rich, go on, pick your favourite zip tie trick there. Which one do you like? And we'll give
I'm gonna go with, I think, Will and his wheel truing little hack there. I like that.
Well done, Will. You're this week's winner. Amazing.
Yep.
I'm going to send you a GMBN race top for that. Congratulations.
Very
Not bad
nice.
at all, eh? These were just a little example of just our zip tie hacks and bodges, but imagine what we would do if we saw your hack or your bodge. I really love seeing the bodges, I really do, but some really ingenious hacks. I bet, Rich, you'd like that.
I would. Do you know what would be great to see next week? Because we've done zip ties, which fix everything. Duct tape fixes everything. Let's have a duct tape special next week. Why not?
That's amazing. Yeah, if you've got any duct tape hacks or bodges, then
come on.
send them in to the GMBN uploader. I love that idea. That would be great.
It's caption contest time, mate. Well, look at this picture of Hank. Look at Hank there.
This dude, man, he's so cool. He's such a cool dude.
You say cool, I say special.
He's pretty nuts. Right, first one for this picture is from Frostis, and it says, how roadies prepare to venture out into the wilderness for some gravel riding. That's harsh. That's harsh on Hank. Because Hank, I tell you what, Hank is up for it. That's one thing he is up for it.
He's enthusiastic.
He is, yeah. What's this next one? From Adam.
Adam Kendall, when someone steals your comm and you have to go to war to get it back. Oof, Strava wars, yeah, true.
Yeah, that's Neil in the morning before a ride. Right. This is it.
Who's done me?
Because he loves it. He loves taking those king of the mountains or king of the... Is it still, when you're going down, is it still a comm?
Well, they still call it a comm, so I guess you're still king of the mountain. You're just going down the mountain instead of up
I
it,
guess so. Lastly, right, he's a legend. He's a three-peater. He's a triple winner on the caption contest. Cornish Cactus has come in with what I think, he can't win anymore, but what I think's the best one. He says, Unchained melody plays in the background as Hank and Neil create a disturbing rendition of the clay scene.
I have no idea what Unchained Melody is.
Unchained Melody, it's the scene from Ghost. You know, the scene from Ghost where Patrick Swayze comes back out over the back of Demi Moore as they're playing with a clay pot. It's a horrible image that Cornish Cactus has just put in any Ghost fan's mind. It's basically, it's a lot of Slippery Neil and Hank right there. So let's just say that's a banger. But I'm not giving it to Cornish Cactus. He is officially not able to win anymore because he's won it 3 times. And he is the only man to have done that so far. So keep your captions coming. They go in the comment section down below. It's between Frostis and Adam Kendall then. Rich, go on, give us a winner.
I would like to pick, I quite like the Frostis one. How roadies prepare to venture out into the wilderness for some gravel riding. Congratulations, mate. You have won.
It's a classic, and there was a few on that theme in the comments from last week, so that's a good winner. Right, here's this week's photo for the caption. Give us your best caption for that one in the comment section down below. Can you beat Cornish Cactus? The guy's on fire. Let us know by putting something down there and getting involved with the show. Right, time for the bike vault. And like I said, it's a bit of a hardtail special this week, Rich. Actually.
Nice.
Yeah, let's get in. Right, have you got the bell, actually? Have you got the bell? I digitally can't see.
You do? I've got it, armed and ready.
All right then, let's get in there.
Okay.
This is started with Corey's Specialized Hard Rock from 2011. Man, look at those wheels. Don't they look weird?
They're miniature. Is that,
Don't they
is
look
that a 20
weird?
inch?
It's a 26 inch, but 26 inch wheels now just look so strange.
Yeah,
Especially on a
anodized
big
blue
bike.
as well. It's a strong look, anodized blue, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm going to say that's a nice
That is
to
a
start
nice
us.
bike. Yeah,
That's
so
nice.
a good solid nice there. Good one, Corey.
Yeah, that's in Swanson Park in Bellevue from Corey, and rebuilt this beauty last year. Well, it's good to see it back out on the trails, Corey. Nice one. Next hardtail this week. Oh, look at this. Right, Darren is next. It's the Ragley Bop 2021. I like these. I like that low slung top tube. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, those red lyrics as well are very nice.
Yeah, that's a super nice one. Super.
Good job, Darren. And next
that was in Calamaro in Spain. Sorry, I should have said.
I don't know where that. Benalmadena. That's southern Spain, isn't it?
Yes, I think it is. It's very nice. Yeah. Oh, next up, look at this. It's not a hardtail, really. It's not a hardtail, really. But you know, I actually in the day did have the luxury of riding one of these, and it may as well be. May as well be, but it's pretty flipping cool. That's what it is. Stefan's 1993 Marine Pine FRS. Bloody beautiful, that is. Right. Yeah, even I like this bike, and even I like the Tamils. It just all works. It's just great. It's just great. That's mountain biking at its best right there. Whew. Fire. Well done, Stefan. Super nice for you. Next up, and to finish, the bike vault this week is Sean's 2021 Silverback Stride Sport 29er. Love it. Yeah, love it. I tell you what, this doesn't look like this bike would break the bank, if you know what I mean. But it looks like it would do a fantastic job, and that's the beauty of the modern mountain bike. It's very, very good. Very good. Whew. Yeah. Thanks for that in, Sean. That is a nice to finish, but there's some cracking hardtails in there this week. Cracking hardtails. Now, I've seen all the bikes stood looking static. Now I want to see some riding. It's time for fails and sends. Rich, hold tight. Oh, you're good.
Holy moly, Mark. Those were some epic fails and epic sends right there. That was pretty nuts.
There, I tell you what, there was a couple in there that will definitely be appearing in one of the monthly specials. I'm sure of it. I saw some bangers there. Thank you for sending those in. Once again, the GMBN uploader is there. The link is in the description down below. Please send us all of the stuff we want to see in the show. It's nothing without you guys, so I want to see all of your content in that uploader. Send it in. Please do it. Please do it. Rich, thanks for joining us, man, and thanks for being so pro and brilliant on your bike.
Oh, mate, it's been a pleasure. Thank you. It's been a while since I've been here, so it's nice to be back.
Yeah, as you've been on tour, on the EWS tour, which is very cool, actually. Staying pro to the last. And of course, thanks to Chris Smith as well. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you love, like, and share on your social channels. Try hitting the old like button underneath. It goes blue, that's what I've heard. Try it. Try it now. It's a great experience. And of course, make sure you catch up with us another time on GMBN. We've got a great week coming. But from now on the Dirt Shed, it's goodbye from me.
Oh, and it's goodbye from me, actually. Toodle pip.
Layers.